Hey, welcome back. So today we're going to make some suya. Suya is like an African kebab. And the seasonings we're going to use is from your international store, Suya seasoning or Suya spice. I like to add to that, even though this has a lot of good spices in it. I like to add parsley, onion powder, black pepper, a little ginger, garlic, because that's my business. Shout out to Tabitha. And a little bit of salt, okay? So you're going to use stew meat, like the beef chuck stew meat, okay? So I'm going to get everything down into the bowl, and we'll season it up, and I'll be back. Alright, so I'm going to bring you in. So this is the meat, alright? Now basically what you want to have like bite-sized pieces. So they're going to go on a skewer. So let me get my glove on, because if you don't like touching meat, you don't have to touch the meat, okay? But if you get pieces that are, say, about yay big, just cut it so that all the meat cooks evenly, okay? But you know, meat's going to shrink down, so that's a good size right there, alright? So, go through, see if you have any overly big pieces, just give them a quick cut down, okay? Slippery little guy. There you go. I think most of mine are already pre-cut. If you don't want to cut it yourself, you can definitely talk to your local meat cutter or your butcher at your store and let them know that you want it kebab size or enough size to fit on a skewer. Now my kids, they really like this, so I try to cut the pieces because they will sit there and eat like a whole kebab, like a caveman, like they've never eaten before in their life. See, like this one, that's pretty big, so I'm gonna actually cut that one into 3. If you do have some fatty pieces, it's okay. Go ahead and cut your oven on to about 355. Even though you're going to cook it pretty much about 350, 360. I like to do a little bit higher because you're going to lose a bit of heat from opening the door when you first put it in. So I'm going to get this all cut up and then I'll be back. Alright, now we're back. So everything is all cut up. Hope you can see that. Now I'm going to go ahead and season it. So I'm going to do a little salt. This is a mixture of sea salt, pink Himalayan salt, and a little bit of black salt. Not like the black salt that tastes like sulfur or egg. This is the black lava salt. It's like charcoal. Has a different flavor. I like to mix it. I'm going to go ahead and be generous, and I'm just going to say some because I really don't measure. So that's garlic. I'm going to put a little bit of ginger, not too much. That one's not coming out. Oh, the paper's still on it. And I've washed my gloves. I know some of you are like, what are you doing? Alright, not too much ginger. Ginger can be overpowering, and while I love ginger, not for this dish, it needs to be an accent, not overpowering. So go and put some black pepper down in there. Good amount. A little bit of onion powder. And the kebab spice. You're going to put a decent amount of this because this is the main flavoring. Suya, S-O-U-Y-A, Suya. Has like ground peanuts, so be careful, make sure you read it. If you have a peanut allergy, some Suya spices have ground peanuts in them. Often you have it served with a peanut sauce. So once you get everything in there like that, I'm going to take a little bit of olive oil, not a lot because the meat already has enough fat in it, but just so the seasoning will stick, and give it a quick drizzle like that. I have more olive oil, don't worry. And I like to use a light olive oil for this one, so it's not too heavy on the olive flavor. And then you're going to give it a good mix up in there. See? I guess I should have let you see the seasonings in there. There you go. It's not too spicy, but it's definitely seasoned. It's flavorful. And then if you have time, you can let that sit in the refrigerator for about, 20-30 minutes. Maybe overnight, but I will tell you that due to the salt, if you do it overnight, it's going to draw out more of the blood. And you might end up with a drier kebab. I like mine to be nice and moist. Then, you get you some wooden skewers. You can soak them in water first if you're going to do it on the grill, high heat. But if you're just going to do it at home, you don't have to really worry about that part. You're going to take it and just skewer probably about 5 pieces on there, depending on how big your meat is, and space them out just a little bit, just so they cook evenly. 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'm going to do 5. Yeah. So that's pretty much like a serving. Now, if this was going on the grill, definitely soak them so the wood does not burn. If you're putting it in the oven and you're cooking it at a lower temperature, then you may not have to worry about that, okay? But just make sure your skewers are clean. You can use the metal ones that are reusable if you like as well, all right? So then you're going to lay it on a cookie sheet with a rack. I have parchment paper on there, but I've sprayed it with cooking spray. And you're just going to lay it so that the fats can drop off. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and finish this part up, and then I'll come back before I put it in the oven. Alright, welcome back. So, I have my oven preheated, 355. And here are my kebabs, or my suya. Okay? So, they're seasoned up pretty well. They're supposed to be highly seasoned, not salty, but highly seasoned. Okay, there's a difference. So they're seasoned up, ready to go into the oven, and we're going to start checking them after about 30 minutes. Okay, if you were putting these on the grill, I would say give them a quick sear, and then go ahead and put them on the indirect heat. Okay, you do not want to overcook them or cook them too fast. So before I end this portion of the video, I want you to take another look at your spices. So I have parsley, onion, black pepper, ginger, garlic, salt, and Suya spice. Suya spice can be found at your international store, okay? Check your international store that's near you in the African section. I'll be back in a few so we can check our suya. Alright, so while we're waiting for the suya, what we're going to do is we're going to make red stew. Red stew is like a sauce that is made to put on top of rice. Suya is the base for jollof, and just so you know, my husband is Nigerian, so that's where I learned a lot of these recipes, but we've adapted them for our specific family. For our health needs and just, what we like. All countries and all families make their jollof different. So don't be offended if this recipe is not like how your family makes jollof. There's a big argument between Niger jollof and Guyana jollof and Cameroonian jollof. This is just the way we do it in this household, okay? Also, I've adapted my recipe just a little bit for, again, our health needs and our specific taste. Anyway, you're going to end up blending red onion, a little garlic, habanero pepper, we like it spicy around here, Maggi cubes. I have about 4 of them here. Just so you know, a Maggi cube is a seasoning. See, it says NG, Nigeria seasoning. It's, you know how you have bouillon, chicken bouillon, veggie bouillon, beef bouillon. This is a seasoning cube bouillon. that is African based as far as the flavor profile. It has, you know, salt, sugar. Some of them have MSG, some of them don't. A little cornstarch. Some of them have a little soy, palm oil, and other spices that they don't want to necessarily tell you. So, only because the recipe is a secret. Again, international store, you can find that. And then most of your onions you're going to chop chunky because you're going to put them into your blender. But you're going to have a handful of onions that are going to be just thinly sliced because you're going to like flavor your oil. Traditionally, it is made with palm oil pretty much in its entirety for the frying portion, okay? We can't have the palm oil because cholesterol. Good flavor, but we're trying to live long. So I will use just maybe a spoon of this, but the basis is corn oil. You don't want to use olive or avocado, anything that can't get to frying temperature because it needs to get hot. Peanut oil is fine. I've used peanut oil. I just don't have it upstairs and I don't feel like going downstairs to get it. You're going to need some water just to blend it. A bit of salt. You don't need too much salt because you're using Maggi cubes. If you want it to cook down first, it's going to concentrate. You don't want to have your stew to be too salty, okay? And I'm also going to cheat. Oh, wait. Let me get this spoon of palm oil in because my pan is really hot. You want your pan... Oh, you guys can't even see that, can you? Okay. You don't want a lot. Just a little bit. Your oil is going to get a color to it. Ooh, I need to turn that down. Alright. Heating up faster than I'm going. So let me get this going for you. Alright, so we're going to put our onions in here. If your blender is not big enough, please, please, please make more than one batch. Some water for the blend. We'll throw the pepper in, seeds and all. I'm not using fresh tomatoes because I don't have any, but I still want to eat today. So get your oil screaming hot, okay? Screaming hot. And when it's screaming hot, if you had tomatoes and onions and everything, you're going to put that in and you're going to fry it. You see that? Hope you saw that. If it doesn't fry, it's not going to be right. Give it a quick stir. And you can blend up the rest of your stuff. I forgot to throw the onions in there to flavor the oil. Well, it's okay because I did the onions first anyway. So it'll be flavored. So I'm going to just throw these in there. Generally, you would have done the onion first. I'm going to throw my garlic in here. We like garlic, so I increase the garlic. Throw your Maggi cubes in there to make sure they dissolve. I like to blend them up. Clean up my area a little bit. Give it a twist or two of salt. And generally, if you had the tomatoes, I would tell you to use plum tomatoes. But again, I didn't have any, so I'm using crushed tomatoes. I'm going to just put a little bit of this in here as my liquid. And then we're going to blend that and fry it together. want it to look like a thick puree, okay? Just bring you over so you can see how that's going. You're going to pour that right on in. Alright, put you down here. I am using all of these tomatoes because I'm making a lot of sauce. Don't waste. Put you a little water in there to rinse that out. If you are using fresh tomatoes, you'll probably need a little bit of salt or sugar, depending on what type of tomatoes you have. Just giving it a swish. Rinse out my blender. There's tomatoes on the lid too, so make sure everything is nice and clean, but you know, get everything in there. So it's going to eventually start to boil again. It just cooled back down, but you see how it's already starting to get thick? You're going to stir that until it gets red. Keep stirring. This is not where you go sit down and go watch TV and don't pay attention. And you don't cover it because you definitely want it to evaporate so that it's going to get thick. It's going to turn dark. So take note of where it is according to the edge of the pan, and then you'll see as it reduces. Right now it's probably on about medium high. I'm going to turn it up just a little bit to like 6 on my stove just to bring it back up to a boil. And this will sputter. This will splatter. Please be careful. Step back like this. Keep your tummy, your boobs, your face, whatever, out of the way, okay? And if you don't stir it, it will burn at the bottom. You'll be so upset. Do not add parsley. Do not add rosemary. Do not add cilantro, oregano, or basil. This is not an Italian tomato soup. So if you're used to making Italian food, spaghetti, marinara, bolognese, this is not it. This is something totally different, okay? So now it looks like we got everything blended. We're just going to let that go, okay? I like mine slightly chunky, just a little bit, but that will smooth on out. We'll mash it down with the spoon later. So I'm going to clean up my mess a little bit, and I'll be back. All right, you see this? This is what we want. See how it was bubbling and foaming? This is what we want. You're going to continue on the higher temperature. I have it on 6. And this is exactly what you want. We're going to let that keep going. You're going to kind of scrape your sides down. I have this in an 8-quart Dutch oven. Normally you would not make that much, but I have a family of 5. This sauce is pretty versatile. This can be used for jollof rice, eat with suya, just eat over with white rice, pour it over veggies, whatever. It's excellent with fish. I only put 1 habanero in there. It's not too spicy for those of you that's like, oh my God, it's spicy. But that's 1 whole big habanero for an 8-quart pot. All right, let's check on our suya. Ooh, can you see that? I just fogged the whole thing up, didn't I? There we go. It's been about 35 minutes. And that's pretty much what we're looking for. Just a few signs of pink. I'm going to rotate this pan. See all those juices down in there? Just like that. And we're going to let that go for about another 10 to 15 minutes, okay? I'll be back. Alright, take a look at that. You see how that's boiling? That's what you want. See how it's splattering? And I'm all the way back here? I don't want to get hit with that because that is like lava. But that's what you want. So at this point, you can turn it down. Mine is like at a 4 now. You notice, see from here, if you're not used to cooking, don't do this. The heat doesn't bother me too much. I've been burnt so many times. But anyway, you see that right there, how it is dropped? That's what you want. It's going to get thicker. If you notice the color, I know my kitchen lights are warm, but if you notice the color, you can see that it is getting darker. So I'm gonna give that a quick stir because I don't want it to stick to the bottom. And see how that? There you go. That's what you want. All right. Now I'm going to make the peanut sauce. There is a peanut sauce that goes with Suya. You paint it on, okay? Ours is, again, a little different. Everybody doesn't make it the same. And because my meat is seasoned so well, I don't put too much seasoning in this, okay? Now, I'm going to take some of the peanut oil that is in there. That's if you have natural peanut butter. Only creamy peanut butter. Make sure it's nothing in it but just peanuts and salt. You don't need the Jif or the real sweet kind. And you really don't want to do the crunchy either in this. So I'm going to get some peanut butter out. I need a knife. Because you know how all natural peanut butter is. Woo! Alright. So I'm going to get some peanut butter. Put that right down in there. Oh, I forgot something. I'll be right back. Alright, got the ginger. We're going to put a little ginger down in there. Not too much. The reason why I don't take that off is because I want the ginger to stay fresh. And if I take that off, I feel like air is going to get into it. So I know you're like, why do you never take the paper off? That is why. Then I'm going to put a little crushed red chili flakes. You don't need a lot. Yes, my kids eat it, even though I put all these spices in it. They love spices. A little smoked paprika. Touch of salt. Not a lot. See? Now warm the peanut butter up in the microwave just a little. And we're going to give that a good stir until everything is mixed together. And we're going to paint that on top of the Suya for flavor. If you're allergic to peanuts, skip this step. Maybe you could do it with almond, but I don't know. Haven't tried it. This recipe can definitely be made without the peanut butter. However, you could use a ground peanut powder if you have that. And just mix it with whatever oil you use. Again, do not use olive oil in this situation because the olive oil is not going to give it a good taste with everything else. Use peanut oil, vegetable oil, sunflower oil, something that can take high heat, okay? Alright, I think I got all the lumps out. Now I've got a really nice sauce. Give it a taste. That is delicious. Gonna check. We do not burn our stew. No, we do not. We do not burn our stew. Got a big piece of garlic in there I gotta get out. I'll get it out in a little bit. Alright. Give me 1 second to readjust and I'll show you how we get this on top of the Suya. Alright, so if you're not used to heat, take this all the way out. But I'm used to the heat. Get you one of these silicone brushes. You can get them from the dollar store. What you're going to do is you're going to take your peanut sauce and you're going to paint it right on your Suya. Like that. If you have someone in your family who cannot have peanuts, please skip this step. You're going to put it on both sides. This right here is what really seals the deal with your Suya.
forgot to tell you, I used about 4 pounds of suya. And I got about 16 skewers. Each one has about 5 pieces of meat on it. A couple have a few more, but you know. It's about 4 pounds of suya. Suya spice. Well, 4 pounds of beef. This chuck. It's okay if it has some fat on it. 4 pounds. Then we had some suya spice, garlic powder, salt, pepper, onion powder, and I know what you guys are thinking. Isn't that pot of hot stew right in front of you? It is. Am I right? So far I'm good at dodging. Alright. Again, use your gloves. That's my kids playing in the background if you can hear it. Flip them over. I'm getting a nice steamed suya facial right now. Peanut butter right across there. And then I'm going to put them back in the oven, but I'm going to turn the oven off because these suya are done. But I just want the heat to kind of let that lay on there a little bit. It's hot in here. That's why I got my fan. Keep you a box fan. Cheap, $20, the best kitchen tool you ever have. See you in a minute. So we're about 30 minutes in. And again, you can see how much it has reduced. You see how it's still boiling? That's what you want. It's going to keep reducing. Give it a stir. Make sure nothing sticks to the bottom. We don't mess up no stew around here. We don't burn any stew. Make sure you step back. Got some rice going over there. You step all the way back. Give it a good stir. And now is about the time that you can taste it and check and see if you need to adjust your seasoning as far as salt goes. So give it a taste and see if you need to add some salt in there. Alright. If you ever do need to walk away from your red stew, see how I have the lid on but it's still open on the edge to let the steam out so it can keep reducing? That's what you do. Just so you don't splatter your whole thing. Only if you have to walk away for a short period of time, but don't leave it because you'll burn it. See how much it's dropped down? Give it a stir. Oh, that's nice and thick now. You can see the resistance. That's what you're looking for. That's your red stew. I adjusted for salt about 2 or 3 times. You don't want to over salt in the beginning because one, you're going to reduce it, and the water loss is going to concentrate your flavors. Once you put salt in, you can't take it out. So take your time and layer your salt in there. You use salt depending on the sweetness and the acidity of the tomatoes that you use. Each tomato has its own sweetness and acidity, so it might be a teaspoon, might be a tablespoon, might be 2 or 3. Depends on how many tomatoes you're using. I used a big can of tomatoes, but if you're just making a regular pot, you want to do about 8 to 10 Roma tomatoes or plum tomatoes, okay? And so this has been going for about an hour, only because of the sheer quantity of tomatoes that I used. I'm rocking on low right now. And I have my canner going because I'm going to can a couple of them, a couple jars of them. But basically, this is it. This is ready. And if you hold tight, I'll show you how I use it to make jollof rice. I'll be back later. Alright, and now I'm back. Now this is how you can use the red stew. I know you noticed that the volume is completely gone. It did not reduce down that much. I have some in the canner. I have some pint jars in the canner so that it's stored up for later. And I also have some reserved to the side, a whole quart for throughout the week. And I have another bowl for dipping and putting over top of the rice for individual portions. So I know you can't see it because I have everything kind of rigged, but there's a pot of white rice. And over there, there's some mixed vegetables. I'll bring them over. Since your sauce is so highly seasoned, okay, hopefully my little rig doesn't fall, but I wanted you to be able to see what I got going on here. Hope you're not getting dizzy. I'm sorry. Alright, there we go. So, you have your sauce here in the bottom. This is just some mixed vegetables right here. So what we're going to do is we're going to put half your vegetables. And then we're going to do half the rice. We're doing half and half just to make sure everything gets mixed well. We're probably not going to use all of that white rice because my kids like white rice too. I know you're like, wow, that's really saucy. I know. Hold on, give me a minute. But this is just the quick version that we do. Some people bake it. They'll put the rice in the pan and they'll pour the sauce and they'll bake it like that to kind of bake the flavor into the rice. I don't really like it that way. I don't like my rice soggy. And I don't like my rice hard. It's a particular texture of rice that I like. And then a lot of people use parboiled rice. We eat jasmine rice here. It tastes delicious, in my opinion. Again, people make this totally different, but this is just how I do it here in my house. Also, I'm not a fan of the powdered smoked fish. That flavor, I don't like it too much. Oops, that rice just ran away. I like it in some things, but sometimes it can be overpowering for me. My timer just went off for this. I'm going to put my weight on there. Excuse me, my pressure regulator. And those pint jars are going to go for about 15 minutes at 10 pounds of pressure where I am. I'm going to dump the rest of these vegetables down in there. My hands are clean. And some people don't even put the vegetables in there. But we like vegetables around here. So once it gets to how you like it, that's about how I like it. Not too soggy. Now the rice is going to absorb some of that sauce. We also don't like it to be too dry. I did not put salt in the vegetables or the rice while cooking. So I'm adding the salt here. Although the sauce has a lot of seasoning in it, you want to adjust for salt, okay? Get some of that rice out the way that it fell. Yes, the stove top is clean. I cleaned before I cooked. Hope you're seeing this. I also add in some black pepper. And parsley. A nice healthy dose of parsley. Give that a stir. Also, jollof rice could also have fried meat in it. You take like the beef that you would have made for the suya, and you season it up and you fry it in oil, and then you put it down into the rice. That is delicious too. You can also put chicken down in there as well. And turn this down. I'm reaching my temperature. That was quick. My pot is rolling today. Alright. And my kids are going to start coming through looking for their plates. know you can't see, but they've come and asked like 3 or 4 times if it's ready yet. So there we go. And I'll put a picture somewhere at the end of the finished plate. Alright, so now we're plating. This is the suya with the peanut sauce. You can generally serve it with a little plate of fresh cucumbers or onions, hot peppers. There's some sauce. And the jollof. You can't see it. And let's see if I can scooch it over a little bit more. Got a healthy amount of jollof on there. 2 kebabs. A nice spoonful of sauce. Sorry, I'm out of frame. There you go. Oh, gotta have some sprinkles. Enjoy.